Um, hi, my name is Emily Craig, and this is my functional behavior assessment. First off, I want to talk about what an FBA is. An FBA is a method that assesses problem behavior in order to find its current function and inform intervention procedures. According to Chapani, there are four different functions, and I have them on the side over here. So for my FBA, this is kind of a overall what the process looks like. So it starts off, you do indirect assessments. These indirect assessments could be interviews, checklists, questionnaires. And I also did a direct assessment. Direct assessments could be ABC recording, observation, scatter plots. I did ABC recording for my FBA. And then finally, you do the actual functional analysis. The functional analysis is the experimental piece of the FBA process. This is where you're actually testing each condition to figure out exactly what is the function. So for my participant, her name was Ella Creighton, or EC for short. She's a 23-year-old white female. She has anxiety and OCD. Her strengths include she's creative, she can be a hard worker, she's passionate, and she's empathetic. Weaknesses could be difficulty regulating emotions. She hyperfixates on a lot of things and difficulty with change. As far as communication skills, she has pretty good communication skills, but sometimes has a hard time sharing her needs if it inconveniences other people. The operational definition that I came up with was screen time or phone usage is defined as any time that EC picks up her phone and unlocks it to engage in applications installed on the device. Examples could be her opening her phone to go to Instagram or go on the internet to search various questions, which she does often with her OCD. Non-examples could be her looking at her phone for the time, or if she picks up her phone and looks at it and it unlocks because of the Face ID. Um, those would be non-examples. So the dimension of interest, we're looking at the temporal extent using duration in minutes specifically. Social significance, this is something that interferes with her daily productivity as well as her ability to get school and work assignments done in a timely manner. This was reported by her to me that it was something that she believed needed to decrease. Like I said earlier, so I did the FAST for my indirect assessment, which is a functional assessment screening tool. That's what that stands for. Um, so it was conducted by her husband and her mother, uh, and we were measuring her phone usage. And so each of them was explained to like exactly what the FAST is and what it's used to inform. And from the FAST, we found that there could be two possible functions for her phone usage, and that showed to be social positive reinforcement, which in the form of attention. So that's this one. And then also automatic negative reinforcement, which is a pain attenuation. So all of the levels of each of them was pretty high. So it's not the fast results, I don't think were super informative, but they did help with interventions towards the end of our process. So for the direct assessment, we did duration. So this was taken continuously for 7 days and added together each day to get total duration per day. And IOA was obtained using her phone because it has an automatic screen time recorder. ABC continuous recording was also taken for 7 days, and this was only in the afternoon after she got off work because IOA was obtained by her husband, who was only home in the afternoons, and he did 28% of sessions, so 2 out of the 7 days. And these are the results from those two direct assessments. So for the duration, the average per day ended up being about 491 minutes. The graph showed a high level and moderate variability because there also just did not appear to be any sort of trend. Um, This is a pie chart for her ABC data and common antecedents that were recorded there. Also, the alone condition seemed to be the most. So that was the most common antecedent for her phone usage. Now we got to the trial-based FA. So for each of these sessions, we did two sessions. They were each 50 minutes long. It was in her natural environment, and she had five different conditions. These were the ignore, attention, play, and escape intangible conditions. Based on the results from this bar graph, it seems to be the highest in the ignore condition and the play condition, which, based on my research from the Cooper book, it usually that means that it's maintained by direct access to sensory stimuli. So this is just kind of a summary of everything that I've already talked about. So the FAST or the indirect assessment gave social positive reinforcement or automatic negative reinforcement as possible functions. The direct assessments indicated there's no trend in the behavior, but it is occurring at a high rate. As far as ABC data, I think the antecedents were very helpful in knowing kind of what function could be. So being alone, not receiving social attention and demands. And then for the functional analysis, it indicated that, like I said earlier, it's most likely phone usage is maintained by direct access to sensory stimuli. This was evidenced by high rates of behavior in the alone condition and the play condition. So for my two interventions, I had the first one would be differential reinforcement of an alternative behavior, or DRA for short, and using a token economy. So pretty much for this one, she would be reinforced for every instance that she uses her Kindle instead of using her phone. This is because the Kindle would hopefully serve the same sensory function that she's wanting to obtain from a phone because it's also a screen. And also, it would be helpful because I think so. From the FAST, we found out that automatic negative reinforcement could possibly be a factor in this behavior. And so reading oftentimes can serve as an escape from just everything going on or even what you're thinking about because you're thinking about the book rather than everything else. And then I decided to use a token economy with her, which has proven to be a really effective conditioned reinforcer because I think that she has more goals that she would want to reach. And I indicated this from her, just knowing her. She would rather get something bigger from a store rather than getting like a piece of candy every time she read for 5 minutes. And I would do reading for 5 minutes. And then after she filled up her whole token board of 12 tokens, so that would equal an hour's worth of reading, she would get to get something from the store. The second intervention that I had was non-contingent reinforcement and response blocking. I got this from the Siney et al. Article from 2016. So for this article, they did a CSA or a competing stimulus assessment prior to implementing this intervention. So I think that that would be something that could be important to implement in this case also. And as far as choosing stimulus or stimuli for the CSA, I would recommend stimuli that use fine motor movements and low brain stimulation. The reason I say that is because we're trying to find something that will be functionally equivalent to her phone. And using a phone uses both fine motor movements in your fingers and it does not use much brain stimulation. And I think that would get at that piece in the beginning from her fast that indicated that she's wanting to escape from sensory stimuli. So I think that if we found stimuli that kind of met that criteria, it would help. And then, so after we found out which stimulus was competing highest, that would be used for non-contingent reinforcement. So pretty much she would get that stimuli from the CSA as non-contingent reinforcement while also putting her phone away somewhere where she does not know where it is. So specifically giving it to her husband and having him put it away. And that would serve as response blocking because they found that those were both those two methods combined were effective in reducing a problem behavior. And so I think both of those interventions would give her both the sensory input that she's looking for, as well as the sensory escape that she could be looking for, um, as indicated by both the FAST and the trial-based functional analysis. And these are my references. Thank you.